This morning, I was listening to one of the fitness podcasts that I usually listen to, and the gentleman that was on there was talking about how his favorite movement pattern, his favorite exercise, was the squat. He's always loved it, and he was saying for most of his life he was a powerlifter. He was saying most of his life he was always trying to build it up, and he said something pretty profound. He had talked about how he's been constantly forced to rebuild it. That over the course of his life, he's had to rebuild his squat several times. He's had knee injuries and had to rebuild up. He's had hip surgeries, had to build up. He's had countless injuries and setbacks in his life, and he's had to constantly go back and rebuild it again. That he's never been able to really ever sustain this sort of top level for particularly long because he's always had to deal with this sort of adversity and had to rebuild. And he had said that despite that, he still loved it. That despite having to constantly kind of rebuild up what he was working on, constantly have to go back to his exercise, constantly having to start back at square one again, that he loved it. He loved what he had done, and that he would still, if he had to do it all over again, he would still do it all over again. That he would still continue along this path. That knowing that he would have to have started over again, it would not have changed what he did in his life. It's profound. It's it's an important thing to understand, I think, in this process that you are going to probably face consistent setbacks in that ultimately you may lose it. You may ultimately lose what you do. Your everything from, you write the book and it gets rejected. You write the book and people hate it. You write the book and the day before you're ready to submit, your laptop or your computer crashes and the hard drive goes away and you didn't think to back it up ever, and so you've lost it forever and all your hard work is gone. um, you build it knowing that it could go away, that you do it in spite of knowing the the impermanence of the item. You do it anyways, and it's hit me. I'm not sure. I had not really started this morning planning on going over this topic. I was going to discuss something else. I was going to go over probably what my project is going to be, for this collection here. But we often think of this process, though, as something of stops and starts and stalls. That you can work on something and you can either stall and do it later, or you can finish it and it's done and it's out there for everybody. I don't think we often think about the fact that it can just collapse. It can go away. That it doesn't exist, and that even if we finish it, our work will never exist forever. It won't be out there forever. And that we need to recognize that and do it anyways. That what we work on matters enough. The ideas expressed, the story, the prose, it matters enough to at least ourselves that we do it anyways. We do it in spite of knowing that these things will go away. I'd said very early on when I was working on Crease, that novel I had that I'm going to self-publish later this year. I'd said very early on when I first started it back in 2018 that if the story never got picked up, I would still self-publish it. That if the story was never, if I could never find an agent for it, I would be okay self-publishing it because I believed in it that much. That project, I believed in it from the start that much. And it went away. That idea went away as the process went on. I became more convinced that it was either representation or nothing. Right? I would never do the self-published thing. Um, and now I've sort of come full circle, I suppose, where I'm back to that position again, where I believed in it enough that I would self-publish it, that I would get it out there. That much like having to kind of rebuild your squat or start over again after another setback, I believed in the work enough that in spite of not having the best outcome, the ideal outcome, I still would have gone down this process and been okay with a 50% outcome, a halfway mark for it. I'm hoping, obviously, in the future that my other projects certainly have a bit more success than I'm anticipating for this first novel. Maybe I get surprised. Perhaps I get surprised by how much success maybe this novel has. I don't know. Um, but ultimately, we have to do these things in spite of knowing that they're going to go away, that it all could just blow up in our face, and we need to just do it anyways. No matter what, do it anyways.